What's up, Nom Nommers? For this week's video, I had intended on cooking for you a recipe from the Assassin's Creed Cookbook as part of a series of recipe tests for my official review. Now, I feel like some context is necessary here. I've already cooked a couple of recipes from the Assassin's Creed Cookbook, and I haven't really been blown away by them. So, to give the cookbook a fair shot, I wanted to try something simpler. Something, you can't really mess up. Something like hummus. Hardly any cooking at all. How could you mess up hummus? And on that note, let's jump into my review of Siwa-style hummus from the Assassin's Creed Cookbook. Now, the ingredients for the hummus are fairly simple. You've got garlic, cooked chickpeas, extra virgin olive oil, tahini, lemon juice, salt, cumin, a little bit of sesame oil, and in addition, the cookbook calls for some fresh cilantro leaves. I opted to leave those off because I think cilantro tastes like soap, and yeah, I don't cook with cilantro. The first step is to peel and crush 1 clove of garlic, then degerm it and chop it up finely. You're going to add the garlic as well as 2.5 cups of chickpeas into your blender. Now, at this point in time, I was a little concerned about the lack of liquid because you're supposed to blend that together while pouring in the olive oil, but it's only 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which is not a ton of olive oil. It became abundantly clear at some point that the blender isn't super thrilled about the lack of liquid. It's kind of getting stuck. So I'm like, well, maybe I add a little bit more of the liquidy ingredients, right? So I add the 2 tablespoons of tahini and the juice of 1 lemon. So those go into the blender, and lo and behold, nothing. Nothing is going for me. It's getting stuck. You can literally just hear it. It's just not mixing the way that you want it to be mixing. And here, people of YouTube, is where I make the critical error. I take the lid off, I stick the plungy tool in, and I may have forgotten to turn off the blender. Lo and behold, this is what happened to my plunger. Take a look at that. Now, needless to say, I'm not going to serve plastic, so that ended up exactly where you think it was gonna go. And now, for my review. Since the hummus ended up in the trash, and I wasn't able to actually give it a real, fair evaluation, I do think it is important to point out that I did try a scoop of the hummus before I threw it away, at the risk of poisoning myself with the plastic that is now missing from my tool, and it was the most lackluster hummus I have ever had. The texture, of course, was really chunky. It wasn't smooth, and that's because there was no way in heck you were going to get a nice, smooth, delicious consistency without any liquid. If you wanted chunky because it would be authentic and the Assassin's Creed origin takes place a really, really, really long time ago and they probably couldn't get it super smooth, fine, but then give us the right tool for the job. And you know what? It actually says specifically in the tools section that the right tool is a blender. And I have a top-of-the-line blender, and it couldn't handle it. I cannot recommend at all this recipe because it will destroy your equipment. It doesn't even taste very good. It has no flavor, and you know what? I gotta be honest that the overall review for Assassin's Creed is starting to look pretty grim. Pretty not good. Because things haven't been tasting good, and I literally have to replace a piece of equipment. And on that note, I'm gonna wrap up this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you actually have cooked this recipe and it worked for you, please tell me how in the comments below, because I would love, love, love to know what you did. Because maybe I'm just an idiot and somehow managed to mess up hummus, and it's really not the cookbook's fault. Anyways, I will be cooking at least 2 more things from the Assassin's Creed cookbook before I make my official review. So hopefully for that cookbook, we pick something that tastes good, because the outlook is a little grim. See you next time.